You're in a conversation. Everything seems normal. Then suddenly, a slick comment, a subtle insult, a sarcastic remark wrapped in a smile. Everyone looks at you. In that moment, most people panic internally. Their ego flares up, their heart beats faster. They either explode or over-explain. But here's the Stoic truth. If you can control your response, you control the room. The ancient Stoics like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca understood something powerful. People can attack your reputation, your choices, even your character. But they cannot control your mind unless you allow them to. Today you'll learn 5 smart replies rooted in Stoicism that instantly shut down disrespect without aggression. These responses don't rely on insults, they rely on composure. If you value emotional strength and self-mastery, subscribe to this channel now. This is where calm becomes power. Let's begin. 1. You're entitled to your opinion. This reply is quiet confidence in sentence form. When someone criticizes your ambition, your lifestyle, your standards, or your decisions, they usually expect pushback. They expect you to defend yourself. They expect emotional engagement. But when you calmly respond, you're entitled to your opinion, you step out of the fight entirely. You're not agreeing with them. You're not validating their judgment. You're not attacking them back. You are simply acknowledging that their thoughts belong to them. This is pure Stoic thinking. You cannot control what someone believes about you. You cannot control their interpretation of your actions. What you can control is whether their words disturb your peace. Most arguments continue because both people want to win. When you show that you don't need to win, the conflict collapses. There's nothing more frustrating to someone trying to provoke you than realizing they cannot pull emotion out of you. This response also communicates security. It tells the room that you don't need approval to stand firm in who you are, and when a person senses that you are not shaken, they usually fall silent. That silence, that's respect forming. If this mindset speaks to you, subscribe and continue building the kind of presence that doesn't crumble under pressure. Next, we'll look at a reply that turns you from target to observer. 2. That's interesting. This response is subtle, but incredibly powerful. When someone throws a jab at you, challenges your intelligence, or tries to embarrass you in front of others, they expect movement. They expect your face to change, your voice to rise, your body language to react. But when you calmly say, "That's interesting," everything shifts. You are no longer the target. You become the observer. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond with curiosity. Your tone is neutral. Your expression is controlled. You don't rush to defend yourself. You don't counterattack. You simply acknowledge what was said, and that's what makes it so effective. Stoicism teaches that events themselves are neutral. It is our judgment of them that creates disturbance. By responding with calm curiosity, you signal that you have not judged the comment as threatening. The other person suddenly feels exposed. Why? Because their attempt to provoke you didn't land. They expected friction. Instead, they received composure. This response also subtly communicates intelligence. It suggests you are processing, evaluating, and thinking, not reacting impulsively. In social dynamics, the person who reacts loses control. The person who observes gains it. And when you consistently respond this way, people begin to think twice before testing you. They realize you are not easily triggered. That reputation alone can silence future disrespect. If you're serious about mastering emotional control in real-world situations, subscribe to this channel. Calm strength is built through repetition, not impulse. Next, we'll talk about how to disagree firmly without creating conflict. 3. I don't see it that way. Disagreement is where most people lose control. Someone questions your choices. Someone challenges your beliefs. Someone tells you that you're wrong, and instantly the ego wants to defend itself. But Stoicism teaches that you don't need to overpower someone to stand firm. You don't need to raise your voice to prove your strength. Sometimes, the most powerful response is simply, "I don't see it that way." That's it. You're not attacking their intelligence. You're not dismissing their perspective. You're not turning it into a debate. You're calmly stating your position. This communicates emotional maturity. It shows that you can tolerate difference without feeling threatened. Secure people are comfortable with disagreement. Insecure people need everyone to agree with them. When you say this with calm confidence, something interesting happens. The emotional temperature of the conversation drops. Why? Because arguments require resistance. They require emotional energy from both sides. When you refuse to provide that energy, the argument struggles to survive. You are firm but not hostile, clear but not aggressive, and that balance is rare. People expect either submission or confrontation. When you give them calm clarity instead, it unsettles them in a good way. It signals that your beliefs are grounded, not fragile, and grounded people are hard to shake. If you want to build that kind of presence, steady, composed, unbothered, subscribe and keep strengthening your mindset with us. Next, we'll look at a reply that protects you from pressure and manipulation without creating drama. 4. I'll think about that. Pressure is one of the most common ways people try to control you. They rush you. They criticize you. They insist you change your mind immediately. They push their advice as if it's the only correct answer. Most people react in one of two ways. They either become defensive and argue, or they fold and agree just to avoid tension. But a Stoic response creates space. I'll think about that. This sentence is powerful because it slows everything down. Stoicism teaches that between stimulus and response, there is a gap. In that gap lies your freedom. When you pause instead of reacting instantly, you reclaim control over your decisions. You're not rejecting them. You're not accepting their view. You're simply refusing to be rushed. And that refusal is strength. Manipulative people rely on urgency. They want you emotional. They want you off balance. When you calmly state that you'll reflect on what was said, their momentum weakens. You also communicate something deeper, that your decisions are deliberate. You don't operate on impulse. You don't move because of pressure. You move because of principle. That kind of composure commands respect over time, and often it ends the conversation without hostility. The more you practice this, the less people will try to corner you. They'll realize you cannot be emotionally hijacked. If you value learning how to protect your peace without burning bridges, subscribe to this channel. Growth starts with disciplined responses. Now let's move to the most powerful reply of all, the one that requires no words whatsoever. 5. Silence. This is the hardest one to master, and the most powerful. Silence makes people uncomfortable, especially in moments of tension. Someone insults you, someone mocks you, someone tries to embarrass you publicly, and instead of responding, you say nothing. No defensive speech, no sarcastic comeback, no nervous laughter, just calm, steady silence. Most people cannot handle this. They rush to fill the gap, they repeat themselves, they try to escalate. Why? Because they expected a reaction, and your silence denied them that reward. Stoicism teaches that not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every provocation deserves your energy. When you remain silent, you communicate something stronger than words ever could. This does not disturb me. Silence signals emotional control. It shows that your internal state is not controlled by external noise. And here's what's powerful. The room notices. People can sense composure. They can feel when someone is grounded. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting the other person's insecurity back to them. Over time, this builds a reputation. You become known as someone who is difficult to provoke, difficult to shake, difficult to manipulate. And once people realize they cannot control your emotions, they often stop trying. The world is loud, social media is loud, opinions are loud. Be the calm presence in the noise. If this message strengthened your mindset even a little, subscribe to this channel right now. Join a growing community committed to discipline, clarity, and emotional mastery. Because the strongest person in any room is not the loudest. It's the one who cannot be shaken.